Well, a bit of wet weather coming on here, Ken, both here in the Okanagan and very much so down at the coast. But don't let that stop you from getting out there and voting today. I mean, get the umbrellas out, get the galoshes on and whatever, and get out and vote. You know, no point in complaining if you don't vote. So there you go. That's enough said about that. Just go out and vote. Let's do the tips and plants of the week right away here, Ken.
You betcha.
My tip of the week, it's time to document all your successes and failures with this gardening season. If you don't do it now, you're going to forget about it.
Yeah.
Forget about it, you know? I mean,
don't forget about it.
Forget about it. And you don't want to do that. You want to make sure you start off the year with some ammunition as to how the year's going to go.
Yeah.
My plant of the week is the lithops, the little living rock, they call it. It's a living rock plant. And it's made like that. Nature made it like that so that the herbivores that come along won't eat them. They think, these are just rocks.
Won't recognize them.
These are rocks.
And they're hard to recognize.
And I got a white one blooming now.
Oh, nice. Send me a picture.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. I love the little yellow one. That was great. All right. I also have a tip and a plant this week. And my tip of the week is you want to be cautious when you're out cutting back your perennials in the garden because there's basically two categories of perennials. There's herbaceous ones that die down to the ground in the wintertime, and you can just chop those right off. There's quite a few evergreen perennials that you don't chop off because their little tips or little shoots are full of the buds ready to bloom for next spring. Some quick options or types of plants that would be in that category are plants like the erinium, which is a perennial alyssum, the arabis, the iberis, the abretia is another one, and hellebores. These plants, you don't really want to be chopping them off. Just let them be and let them bloom first. You cut them back after they flower. All right, that's my that's my tips. And my plant of the week this week is the Christmas cactus and the Schlumbergia. And the reason it is because mine is so covered in buds. The thing is like heavy in flower buds. As I do my procedure every year, putting it outside around the beginning of September, leaving it outside in a partially shaded area for the whole month of September, then bringing it in, and lo and behold, the thing just gets covered in buds, and it's all excited. I call it super budified, if that's a word. There you go.
That's a good one. I like it.
That's my tips and plans for this week. Remember to check growercoach.com and Grower Coach on YouTube.
Well, that's great, Ken. You are the Christmas cactus king of the Okanagan.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you. You know, they last for quite a few years. Like, you know, they often get handed down. Right now, I've got, I think, 3 colors. But the one that's my star is the yellow one, which is for me is just such a cool plant, and man, does that thing perform! And so I'm doing some pictures as we go along, maybe a couple little videos, and piece it all together here as soon as I can get that out on the YouTube.
And one of the cool things about Christmas cactus is they could be a legacy plant. Like people talk about this Christmas cactus they got from their grandmother. After she passed away, and they took this Christmas cactus, and it's still there 40 years later. You know, I mean, it's incredible. A long-lasting houseplant. I've got a chunk of my grandmother's Hoya.
Yeah.
I got it from my cousin Wendy in Vancouver. That was the only thing she had of grandma's, and I said, well, can I have a chunk? And I did, and boy, is it ever thriving. It's really going nuts. One thing you have to watch with the greenhouse stuff and the indoor plants, really got to keep an eye open, especially as you get older like me. I can't see like I used to, you know. And here we are. Dan Bruce came in, and we were looking at some plants yesterday, and I showed him this one plant, just like you did, the same thing. And, look at that. I mean, it's not like the greenhouse is full of mealybug. It's not.
No.
Or scale. It's just here and there. But if you don't notice it, and if you don't get on top of it,
oh, yeah,
you can get into trouble because they have their way. They just have a ball in there. They're just saying, yippee. It's,
especially when they come in from the outside. Those mealybugs are kind of suppressed and almost a little bit dormant, you know, when they're outside. And then when they come in and temperatures all balance out and they kind of start to wake up again, and all of a sudden you get an outbreak. So literally daily inspections are a necessity for sure.
And inspections with a hand lens. Or, I do have a set of those jeweler's glasses.
That's what I use too,
I got them at Princess Auto actually a few years ago, and they're actually quite good. They weren't expensive ones, but they do the job.
Yep.
And you can really get up close and personal with it. One of the signs, of course, when you've got something like that, and it's a sign, if you see this sign, you're at kind of advanced stage, and that is sticky leaves. When you start seeing sticky leaves, you're in an advanced stage of either scale or mealybug.
Yeah.
And
or
aphids.
Aphids,
but aphids aren't as big a problem in the greenhouse, it seems, Ken. No. I don't seem to have issues with aphids.
Yeah, I see a few around, on the plants that I brought in, but I as soon as I see them, I just squish them,
wash them up,
squish them, or whatever, get rid of them. But scale insects are the ones I think that really spit out the most amount of that sugary substance, and they spray it over a distance. So sometimes you'll see it on a leaf and you'll see the sticky, shiny stuff there on there, and you think, oh, maybe that's maybe there's an insect, and you look around, you can't find it because it's not on that one. It's like 3 leaves up to the left, and they're spraying it over in that direction, and that's the way it goes.
Yeah. I've found that these synthetic pyrethroid materials, this one contains permethrin in Dr. Doom, and these things are so non-toxic to mammals and others that they're wonderful. I would never have, when I was way back in my chemical days, and I'm 75 years old, and I've done my share of chemicals, but now, of course, we don't. And on the shelf now, that's not locked up or anything, it's right there on the shelf, are these synthetic pyrethroids, which are really effective. I'm quite surprised at how effective they are.
Yeah.
And not that you're going to be spraying all the time, because you still don't want to harm any beneficials. You want to really focus on the plant. Now, was it you that gave me? Donnie gave me some little tags that contain some predator mites in, and there's a lot of that going on now. And I'm going to try and use that little method in the greenhouse as well. So once you do that, and you've got these predator insects in there taking care of things, you don't want to be spraying anything.
Yeah. It's different also depending on your situation because of the mites. Most of these mites are day length sensitive. So when if you have short days like we do right now, they go dormant and they crawl into a little crevice and then they go dormant for a while. But you can actually use night break lighting, like we do with plants, to fool them into thinking the days are long and keep them more active. And it's something that.
And you're talking about the predator.
Yeah, predatory ones.
The biological insects.
Yeah, they live by the same life cycle as the. Because a lot of those mites are mites that eat mites.
Yeah, that's right.
And so, and you got to have some mites around, or else they also go dormant because they have no food to eat. So you got to find your mite infestation and make sure you release them right there.
That's right. And it's a little more complicated than the old days where you just go in and blast everything. Yeah. It's a little more complicated, a little more timing involved, a little more, as you say, to lengthen the day to make sure they're active and that sort of thing. But I'm really quite pleased at how clean the greenhouse is. It's just periodically I find this.
Well, they show up, and scale insects like that. It's so difficult to, I'm not. I think it's where wherever the leaves are kind of touching each other, where the new leaves come out, and it's down in those little crevices between those new leaves where I think there's a couple scale somewhere, because a scale insect is like a covering, and that's all their little eggs are underneath the covering. Yep. So you can't get scale without an adult being around somewhere.
Right.
And so they crawl into these little spaces, and then they metamorphosize, turn into an adult scale, and next thing you know, you've got scale. And I mean, it only takes one.
You know what you do when you squish one? You get an A-flat scale.
An A-flat scale?
An A-flat scale. Anyway, no. I did have trouble this past spring.
Yeah.
With something I've never had trouble with before, and that's thrip. And you pointed it out to me. Donnie pointed it out to me. A little white malformations just dead specks on the leaf. And what the heck? It looks like physiological to me. But no, you get under there with your glass and you see. And so I'm not going to let them even get a foothold next spring.
Oh, thrips are a tough one, and they're so immune to everything. Yeah. They're often not affected by sprays, But that particular product that you were just talking about, the pyrethrins, have actually been effective one or two times anyway. But once,
you can switch it up though. You can go from permethrin to tetramethrin. to pyrethrum, the original. You can just switch it up, and quite often
resmethrin, remember that one?
Resmethrin, yes, that's right. Permethrin and all that. Okay, well, we're at the 15-minute mark here. We're going to take a short break. We do invite your calls because that's what we're here for, to listen to you and listen to your questions and hopefully answer them. We'll be back with The Garden Show after this short break. Well, as you know, Ken, I've got a lot of new plants in the greenhouse that are from Dwayne Amandrew, the collection up at Dwayne Amandrew's, and one of them is a stapelia. And when Dan Bruce came into the greenhouse yesterday, he came in and I showed him this plant, and I showed him in bloom. He says, "Oh, you got the stinky plant," and I right away he recognized it, of course. I said, "Yeah, I know. That's what they say. It's supposed to smell like rotting flesh to attract the flies that will pollinate, right?" And I'm a bad one for my nose, Ken. I can smell burning wire. Like, I can smell electronics burning right away. I'm the first one to smell it. But a skunk, can't smell him.
So did he smell it?
He smelled it, and he just backed off right away.
Oh, really?
He backed off right away. I put my nose right up, smell it, I can't smell a thing.
You got lots of pictures of that, eh?
Yes.
Yeah. Good.
Stapelia.
And
it looks like it looks like an orchid cactus.
It really does, yeah.
But it's not even a cactus.
It's not even a cactus.
No
kidding. It's not It's not
a
it's
euphorbia.
its own species.
It's its own. Stapelia is
its
genus.
own genus.
It's a genus.
Wow, isn't that cool?
And there's a couple of species. There's a few species, and they've developed new varieties. You know, like different colors, shades of that same browny, purpley kind of.
It's a very interesting flower, and what's fascinating to me is that there's totally different, unrelated species. I don't know how unrelated they are, but they have exactly the same flower, and their flower also smells like rotting meat and pollinates by flies. But when you look at that flower and look at a flower from some of these other plants, the flower looks very similar. So I guess maybe they have some relation.
Could be.
somewhere.
And like you said, if you want to sort of identify a plant, look at its flower.
Yeah, group the plants by their flowers.
You bet.
And seeds.
Dale is joining us from Victoria. Hey, Dale.
Good morning.
Good morning.
There.
Hello. Yes, greetings from Victoria. We're getting the atmospheric river coming through here.
Yeah, it's raining now, is it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's raining. Yeah. Lots of umbrellas.
It's raining here, too.
I'll get to my point. I've got a plant of the week. I'm the first-time caller, but
Nice.
really enjoy your show. My son and daughter-in-law recently bought a home in Cowichan Bay, just north of Victoria. And avid gardener, an older gentleman who had to sell his home, but they moved in, and I've been helping them clean out their yard, things like that. So we looked at this one plant, and couldn't identify it. They, finally with technology and taking a picture of it and things like that, I got a line on it, and it's kind of a perennial, like you mentioned earlier in the show, but it's called the American Beauty Berry.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And apparently, I've done a little research, and it's only indigenous to Florida. Cowichan Bay is a little ways from Florida, I guess, but it's a beautiful little flower, and then it grows a kind of a purple or a sapphire almost berry.
Mm-hmm.
And they were concerned that their toddlers would eat these berries and get sick or whatever, but apparently you can make jelly out of them. And the leaves, if you crush them up, repel mosquitoes naturally, I guess. So. I don't know. Have you ever heard of an American beauty berry or
Calicarpa? Calicarpa.
Mm-hmm.
Calicarpa.
Calicarpa is the genus, and we grow it here in the Okanagan too. However, it froze to the ground last year in the Okanagan because of that 31 to below weather we had for a few days.
Right.
But mine is growing up 4 feet now. It's 4 feet high now.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My son and daughter-in-law, theirs is probably about 10 feet high, and it's so laden with berries, it's almost kind of drooping over in the rain and things like that. But yeah, very interesting. And anyway, I just thought I'd call in.
Well, yeah, it's a great plant, and I'm interested. You've read that it's indigenous to Florida?
Yeah, the southern states.
Okay.
And Cowichan Bay, is kind of in a weird microcosm down by the water and
you do have a little microclimate there that you can grow things like Fatsia japonicas and things like that we just can't successfully, and pampas grass and
for sure,
that kind of thing that we we dabble with, but it's not successful. We get frustrated here.
Right on. Well, anyway, I just thought I'd call in. I enjoy your show. Yeah, well,
thank you.
Have a great day.
Yeah,
you betcha. Thanks for the call. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for calling. Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, that's a good plant of the week. Plant of the weeks are typically something that's going on right now.
Right.
Kelly Carpa is a good one. And
it's not going on here, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, we didn't get all of ours froze to the ground, so we don't have the old wood. They usually will fruit on last year's growth. And so hopefully you'll get some next year.
You're telling us we're getting a cold winter again here, Ken. I don't like you.
It's not looking good. Not looking good, unfortunately. But you never know.
Yeah, I'd say we would like to have a mild winter this year. Mm-hmm. That's what I'd like.
That would be nice.
Yeah, it's really, really something. So people are getting their sprinkler blowouts now. Make sure that you get that booked in because I've had a couple of times over the years where even family members have neglected to do that, and it's a very costly thing if you don't blow out your sprinklers.
Oh, yeah.
It can be a very costly thing.
Yeah, and then even what I found is that sometimes people are doing blowouts, but they don't really know how to do a blowout properly. So then what happens is you still end up with broken pipes and all kinds of issues. So it's really, really important that you try to hire somebody who has at least a bit of an idea. I know there's lots of guys who drive around with air compressors, but it's cheap, but you sort of get what you pay for in those cases. I mean, some of the guys are okay, and some of the guys are terrible. So you takes your chances, as they say.
Yeah, get somebody reliable on your side, and you can get them to come back every year and do the job for you. You can kind of book it ahead.
Yeah,
you
betcha.
Elaine Cameron, of course, was out in her garden, and we'll talk about that later in the show. She was out there doing her thing. And the interesting thing that I noted in her garden diary here was that it froze on the 21st of October that year. It froze hard.
Yep.
Hard frost. They spoiled the frost spoiled the chrysanthemums. So I mean, if it's gonna hurt a chrysanthemum, it was a pretty hard frost.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it's something that we've had a couple times over the years. My recollection is, I think it was in 2000, when was it? It was about 10 years ago or so. And when all of our, the irrigation, we were in the middle of blowouts. It was around the 20th of October. Yep. We had a minus 11. And we had water spraying everywhere on these properties where people didn't have their irrigation water off. And there's really no point in watering right at this stage of the game because hopefully you've given them the last waterings of the year, get everything a shot, and then shut the system off. And for these reasons that anything could happen now, it could still freeze. And even though the guy's on his way to do the blowout, doesn't mean that you still have to leave your system on. I tend to shut it off. But Elaine Cameron sounds like she had a pretty major
good solid
freeze.
Frost on the 21st of October, 1954.
Yep.
I want to. It's interesting. I had a look back at some of my recorded files back in the day. 2001 garden show at this time of year. One of the tip of the week was this: check your peach trees and other prunus species for peach borer before the winter. And that was a good tip, I thought, because they have a ball through the winter. They don't go to sleep. They don't freeze out. No. In the milder times, especially down at the coast. They burrow down inside, and they're causing problems. And so look for that jelly. Look for the telltale jelly at the base of the tree. Make sure you've got your mulch pulled away from the base of your trees, your prunus species, your Prunus triloba, Prunus pissardes, Prunus cystinas, and your peach trees and nectarines.
I don't even know if there's any pissardes left. They pretty much all froze out last year.
Well, in Kelowna.
in Kelowna, yeah.
Oh, I tell you, we had some weather last year, but I'm tired of talking about that cold snap, Ken.
I know. Well, it was not just last year, but the year before as well.
We had another one.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the way that goes. But sorry. Yeah.
Another tip that I had back then was dig around the garden and identify some dry spots. You just mentioned don't water, don't throw you don't need to really throw it, especially now we get some rain. But there are dry spots under eaves and areas, and if they've got important plants in there, for instance, bulbs that are coming up. Yeah. Use your watering can or your garden hose to water those areas and get them done. Because it's especially in the Okanagan, stuff can dry out, especially under eaves and that. Now we're getting some rain now. I'm hoping it's snowing like crazy at Big White right now.
Oh, it's snowing.
Is it snowing
I
up there?
could see yesterday the hilltops had snow. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, we can't see the hilltops from here.
We cannot see anything. It's raining here as well. Yeah.
There we go. Well, it's coming into winter. We've got some calls coming in, and we appreciate that, but we're going to have to take a short break here first, and then we will get back with the Garden Show after this short break. Well, there we are. Yesterday, I had a very interesting visitor into the greenhouse. Popped in to say hello, and it was Dan Bruce. We have him on the line right now. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
Yeah, and thank you for noticing that little spot of mealybug, and because, you got to spot it when these things are just starting, not when they're advanced.
Oh, yes, that is something you have to nip it in the bud. Oh, dear. That was terrible.
Yeah. I nipped it in the bud. Okay. So you said yesterday that you hadn't figured out what you were going to talk about, and I thought, okay, well, you got a whole 24 hours to do that. So there you go.
Well, yes, but, my brain doesn't work as fast as it usually does, or sometimes did. But you did show me that sort of hanging vine-like succulent,
yes,
with a big base,
yes,
and thin leaves, and
yes,
a recurved flower.
Yes.
I think I've identified it.
Oh,
But
can you tell?
I will wait till I actually come and see you with it, because there's one thing I want to check on.
Oh, okay.
But
So
anyway,
we don't want to stab in the dark, in other words. But that is a real interesting plant. One of the most interesting plants I have, and of course I got it from Dwayne Ambendrude's collection, and we got to get an ID on it because it's a beauty.
I think we can ID it.
Oh, fantastic.
But one thing that sort of came back to mind from my trip to the coast is I was sitting and having breakfast at my friend's place in Tawasin, and they had a massive branch come off of a willow tree that was right on the edge of their property on the corner of the street.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, they got it cleaned up as best they could, and then the town of or city of Tawasin came and helped them with guys with big chainsaws.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the city provided a replacement tree, which was I think it's a red oak.
Okay.
Anyway, this red oak is right on the sort of edge of the lawn, right by the sidewalk,
mm-hmm.
and I'm looking at it and thinking to myself, if a giant tsunami hit Tawasin, that oak would not move, because on two sides of it are these massive stakes.
Okay.
Like huge, serious fence posts.
Yeah.
About, I would say 5 feet high.
Have they allowed, Dan, I'll just interrupt you. You got the support there. Have they allowed the tree to move at all if it's windy?
Well, in between these two stakes is the tree, and it's anchored to the stakes with these sort of wide nylon
straps.
And as I said, that thing is not going to move if a tsunami hit or a dinosaur ran through it.
Right.
It's not going to move.
Right.
And it's the thought, of course, is that they want it to take root and survive and thrive, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the fact is, what should be done in those cases is that the stake be cut down to about 2 feet high at the maximum,
mm-hmm.
and that strapping applied right to the base of the tree.
Mm-hmm.
What you want to hold tight is the root ball,
right?
And you want flexibility in the top.
Yeah, to create strength.
So the wind works on it, and yes, Tawasin can get windy. We know that. Mm-hmm. The wind works on the upper part of the tree. It flexes the main stem, mm-hmm. and that provokes a strengthening reaction in the plant.
Yes.
So your end result is a very sturdy, well-planted tree. Mm-hmm. But the holding it tight right up the top like that at about the height of about 4 to 5 feet means that there's no stress put on the
the trunk.
on the main stem.
Yeah.
So no stress, no need to bother with it. And
That's right.
when you eventually take the stakes away, because they are ugly,
Yeah.
the tree suddenly finds itself at risk of being blown over.
Yes. Because
So anyone planting trees or large shrubs, I think, should really bear this in mind.
Yeah. There was an interesting thing we used to do with our poinsettia crop, and this was shown to us at a conference one time on bedding plants and greenhouse crops. And it's in order to keep your plants stocky and not grow too tall. At 5 o'clock in the morning, just when the sun's coming up, you go out, or no, actually a little later in the wintertime, you go out and you shake the bench. You move the bench. We had rolling benches, so we were able to do that. And you shake the bench.
Crash them together.
Yeah, crash them together, and the plants shake. And that shaking at a certain time of the morning will help strengthen them and hold them back and keep them under control. And there was some university studies done on that, which was really quite interesting. This is way back in the 80s when we were going to this conference, but that's the same kind of situation as you're talking about, Dan, with the trees.
Well, I was talking about this to somebody else, and I said that the tree. I kind of trying to quote myself. I said the tree knows that its support has been removed, and my other friend looked at me and he said, "What are you talking about? Trees don't know anything."
The wonderful world of plant hormones.
I just kind of said, "Well, maybe not." Change the subject.
Yeah, no, they definitely know that it's all a hormone relationship, and the hormones that are released. The ethylene gas, particularly when the trees are blowing around, that's what strengthens the cells and strengthens all the branch attachments and everything. Makes them stronger.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if that's a tree thinking, let it think.
Mm-hmm. Let it think, yes, indeed.
Dan, we always appreciate the chat. So, I'm really looking forward to get an idea on that plant.
I'll come by with this particular book that I have in hand, and we'll work on it.
If anybody's got books, Dan Bruce has books. He doesn't go to Google; he goes to his books, and I appreciate it. Dan, thanks a lot. Take care.
You're welcome.
Okay, buddy. Okay.
Thanks, Dan. Bye-bye. Yeah. That's a very cool little plant. We just did that video. I think it was last weekend. Or maybe the weekend before, about plants, putting the plants in the greenhouse, and we show that particular plant is such a weird thing. It's like long strings that hang. Yeah. The pot sits up high. The plant comes straight over the edge and goes straight down about 3 feet. Yeah. It's like just strange.
And little tiny leaves showing on it now. Very narrow, pointed leaves.
Yeah.
And almost like a grassy leaf.
And it has little blooms.
And now these little pink blooms are there.
Yeah.
It's a fabulous plant. It's becoming my favoriteest plant in the greenhouse. It really is.
I wouldn't call it beautiful. I would call it unusual.
Okay. It is beautiful, Ken. Don't be calling it not beautiful. That's beautiful, and so is that little euphorbia.
The ugliest plant in the world.
Yeah, that little euphorbia that everybody looks at. But it's looking a lot better now. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah,
It's really coming on. It's wrinkly little leaves. It's fabulous.
I did a video on that one too, and that is a very ugly plant.
That's
I think that's what the video is called. Is the ugliest plant or something, and really strange.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that all of them, the glass slippers would fit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, they're looking at us, going like, "Oh my God, what's that?"
Yeah, I know. No, it's fabulous. You know, even although you wouldn't call the living rocks, my lithops, the plant of the week, you wouldn't call it ugly. No, it's actually quite a nice looking plant, especially when it's in bloom. It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. But the herbivores, the people, the animals that eat plants, don't recognize it as a plant because it's just like a little rock sitting there.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. Yeah. It's one of those interesting plants.
Yeah,
and you've got a few.
I've got some interesting stuff. I'll tell you, I'm pretty excited about it. And I'm just so pleased I can carry Dwayne's legacy on for him.
Yeah.
When I'm about to leave the earth or whatever I do, somebody's going to have to do that too because they're a great collection of plants. Mm-hmm. Dwayne had some really interesting. I got this zigzag euphorbia that Dan noted yesterday. He said, "Oh, in Jamaica where I grew up," he says they use those for hedging. It's a hedging plant, euphorbia.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. Euphorbia is one of the biggest group of plants, genus existing. Euphorbias, and that there's just I don't know how many hundreds of species of euphorbias.
Thousands.
Yeah. Of euphorbias,
yeah.
I mean, right down to that little stupid weed that we get in the garden, that little flat thing.
There's many bad euphorbia weeds around. And then, everything from that all the way up to the poinsettia, which is a euphorbia as well, and all the ones in between. And
there are some euphorbias that are toxic, not poisonous toxic like a ricinus seed or something, but they're toxic and they can cause issues. And some can even cause somebody to get sick and maybe even affect their life.
Yeah, you don't want to get it in your eyes.
Yeah, but however, that's why there's two plants out there that were considered poisonous for many, many years, and one of them was a tomato.
Yeah,
because it's related to the deadly nightshade.
Yep,
and the Euphorbia pulcherrima, the poinsettia, was considered poisonous too because it's a euphorbia.
It's related to some of the euphorbias that are toxic sap.
It might be an irritant of some sort, but it's definitely not poisonous.
No.
Flowers Canada president years ago made a little potion, a little Slurpee out of poinsettias and drank it on television. Anyway, we don't want to see you do that. No, just because I said that, don't be going out drinking Slurpee poinsettia Slurpees. Even if you're celebrating Christmas.
Yeah.
We're gonna take another short break here, folks, and we appreciate it if you give us a call. We always love to chat with you. No matter what you have on your mind, give us a call, 250-862-2525 locally here, 1-888-780-4273. If you're calling from out of the Okanagan, or you're in Victoria or anywhere online, give us a shout. We'll be back with The Garden Show after this short break. We're back on a rainy Saturday morning. It's still a beautiful day. It's beautiful weather right now as far as the temperature goes. It only got down to 9 last night in our backyard.
Wow. Yeah.
9 degrees last night in our backyard, which is pretty darn nice for this time of year.
Yeah, for the 20th of October.
Elaine Cameron froze. They froze at the same time of year.
From year to year, it's just
never know.
a completely different ball of wax, that's for sure.
Yep. We have Brenda calling in from Summerland. Brenda, good morning.
Good morning, fellas. Your first topic about Christmas cactuses, I've been gifted a couple of them, actually, very large ones.
Oh, nice.
And one of them, neither of them have bloomed yet, and I've had them, I think, 2 seasons now. But one of them has the old part of the plant is really ugly, like it's quite brown, and it seems like it's still growing new growth. But is there anything I could do for that? Probably not, right?
Well, they're pretty durable, but like I've had some of those huge ones too that were again handed down, and parts of them would die. Like you'd get a whole branch of it. They seem to start to suffer from like a root disease over time, and then the stems will die. And so I have just like once one side of it just looks so bad, you can kind of follow it all down to one stem. Yeah. And then at some point, I would just snip that whole stem out.
Okay, that was my question. Like I said, it's right at where it's coming out of the soil, and the rest of it is got a lot of new growth on it. So unfortunately,
so I'll just tell you a little bit more about that. Is that when to try to keep the plant on track to more a seasonal expectation is that once you get to the end of August, it needs to go outside out into the garden, and it needs to be in a partially shaded location. And you just set it outside and leave it there until the end of September. Okay. In the end of September, you bring it in. And what's happening is that in the month of September, it's just slowly cooling down more and more and more at night.
Right.
And that's what helps to set the buds on those plants. It just sets them up so that they'll bloom like crazy. And so that's one thing. But the other thing is that you can see yours is now, it's got a bunch of new growth coming on it. And when they get new growth, they're much less likely to flower because that new growth is too juvenile. It won't produce the flowers on the tips. So again, this getting them on cycle is really important. If you want to try to get them to bloom this year for say Christmas, your timing might be right as long as you can cool them down at night. You got to get your nighttime temperature down to about around maybe 10 degrees at night. So if I had a porch or even a garage or something that they still need light during the day, but they need to cool down at night and they can't have any frost. So like if I had a garage with a window where I could protect it from like hard frost, just sit it right in front of that window just for about 2 to 3 weeks. Then bring it back in, and that should be enough to trigger it to set buds, and you should get some blooms a little later on.
So sorry, it's the temperature change that it's wanting, not the daylight.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've been reading a lot about. I think on the internet they talk a lot about, you got to change the day length and all this stuff, and it's like, no, that doesn't actually work because it's not day length that triggers them. It's definitely nighttime temperature
change. Oh, okay, and then I have them out. Actually, most of the summer. Is that not good then neither? And then bring them in?
Just don't bring them in too early. I'd be leaving them out right to the end of September because then they get those cold nights. It's down to 5 degrees or something, and it's like, wow, that just sets them right up. And they should bloom.
Really? Yeah. Oh, okay. So it's the temperature, not the amount of light.
And remember not to feed them late in the season. Like if I was once I hit August 1st, no more food for the Christmas cactus because I don't want to encourage a bunch of growth on it when it's supposed to be flowering.
Okay, so no food after August the 1st. Oh, okay.
You might want to try something too and start a few young ones. They're pretty easy to root, eh?
That's what I was thinking. So if I take cuttings from this old plant and root it, do you think I get bloom from that?
Well, after a year or so,
next year, yeah.
Okay, if I do this routine, then
yes, you
do that.
Likely,
then.
Yeah, you do it every year with all your Christmas cactuses.
Yeah,
and funny that some of them are Christmas cactuses, some are Easter cactuses, and the Easter cactuses don't respond to it. They don't. They actually need a cooling period after Christmas. So
and then can you? Like I said, I see that. I've got a number of them, and I've been gifted some. But I see that the leaves, the leaves on these cactuses are different shapes. Does that differentiate between the Easter and the Christmas?
Yes, it does. And the ones that are more sort of pokey or have like little horns on them, those are the Schlumbergias. That is the Christmas cactus. And the ones that are kind of have lobes, like rounded shapes, those are Easter cactus.
Those are the Easter ones. Okay. All right, but you say that the Easter don't respond to the temperature like the Christmas?
That's right. I would if I had Easter cactus, I'd bring them in probably early September if they were outside. I just grow them as a house plant. But then after Christmas, like say, sometime in January, then I'd be thinking, okay, how can I cool these guys down? So I do the same process of cooling the nights down, but I do it in January, February timing.
Okay, so it's still the cooling effect that they want. But like I said, the Easter would be in January. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll persevere. And like I said, they look so ugly, but they're still these big ones are still have nice growth on them, growth on them. But the center of them looks so ugly. So we'll see. And they're not dying off. It's just I guess it's just that they're so old. And
the base gets pretty ragged.
Ragged. Thank you. Yeah, that's what they look like. Okay, guys.
Thank you, dear.
Enjoying your show.
Well, we appreciate your call. Thank you for contributing.
Yeah,
you bet.
Yeah. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye now. Yeah, that is quite a topic at this time of year, Ken. You probably touched a touchstone of sort of thing when you talk about Christmas cactus because they're in the stores now coming up, all in bud. One of the things that over the years that some people have said you can't move them when they're in bud but I think that's an old wives' tale, isn't it?
Yeah, there are things that will cause them to drop flowers, and that can be temperature change. It can be a draft. Often when we bring them, say, from a store to home, they get a little bit of a chill during that move. So you can't let them get exposed to the cold outdoor temperature. It's just too much for them, especially, at least here in the Okanagan where, once it's wintertime, any plants that go outside have to be in a bubble. And how we do that is we get a plastic bag and you put the plastic bag over your plant and you tie a knot in the bottom with the plant inside, and then you grab the plant by its pot, thus making a big bubble like a balloon. Now, that'll give you a little bit of protection, but even that, oh boy, doesn't take much to freeze a plant.
Depends on how cold it is outside, too, because we've delivered a lot of plants, you and I. At Christmas time, we've delivered a lot of plants.
Remember the minus 20, we'd have to just go. And we bring in a whole truckload of plants and have to back right up to the door of the flower shop to unload them. And it was sometimes minus 25 and just horrible. And we would have to make a tube out of plastic and all kinds of things. And even then they would get a chill. They don't like it.
Nope, they don't. But there are things that don't mind it at all, and that's what I've been doing, is letting some things stay out. I could have left my jacaranda out, but I had to get it in because it's so big, and I had to fit it in so I could fit other stuff around it.
Yeah.
But they'll take a little frost. I remember my first time I had a jacaranda, which is the one I have now. Now it's big. It was just a small plant, to be 1.5 feet tall, 2 feet tall. And I left it out overnight when it froze. The leaves just wilted, froze. It got frosted.
Yep.
But be darned if it didn't start budding out again. When I brought it in the house, it started to bud out again.
Such a woody plant. And those woody plants have a better odds than the real soft, herbaceous things.
It'll take a little bit of frost, but not much.
But you know that to Schlumbergia, I had one that survived -7 outside, and it survived.
Oh my
now
goodness.
the whole outer part of it died. Like I'm talking 8 inches all the way around the pot. So I trimmed it back to the edge of the pot, and they were just mush. But I brought it back in, and sure enough, it came right back. I had that one for about 3 or 4 years after that, and I was pretty surprised.
That is amazing. Certain things that do survive. I've got that. The cactus-like plant that they make tequila out of. The agave. Agave that is semi-hardy. It'll take a little bit of frost. Yeah. And I've left it out. Dan Bruce gave me that chunk of that. Yeah. There's so many agaves, though. Some of them aren't hardy whatsoever.
Well, in the Arizona area, I mean, they do get frost from time to time out in those hills. In the wintertime, they do, and there's a lot of other agaves around those areas.
Well, we're getting towards the time where we're going to take that mid-show break, and we do invite your calls. We love to have you join us, and we enjoy that very much, and we love to answer your gardening questions as long as we can do it, and we'll do the best we can. And we'll be back with more of The Garden Show after this short break. Well, we're back with you on a really rainy, cloudy Saturday morning. Don't let that curtail your ability to get out and vote, folks. I'm just reminding you again, get out and vote today. It's the provincial election, and it's our duty to get out and do that. Ken, when you were in Cranbrook, when you lived in Cranbrook, or people that have lived on the prairies, where it gets colder, okay? Yeah. Canada geese literally fly south, right?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
I mean, when it gets...
They do have wings, and it helps.
Well, every night at 6:30, and I put a post on Facebook showing these geese flying over.
Yeah.
Every night, clockwork, 6:30, the geese fly by.
And it's the same,
honking away.
Same group.
Oh, yeah. They're over in the field on Burns Road all day. And then for some reason, they don't want to stay there. At night, they go to the lake. They go to Okanagan Lake.
Safe, I guess, yeah. Float on the lake for sleep.
I suppose.
Less coyotes.
Fewer coyotes, fewer eagles and hawks and whatnot.
I suppose, yeah.
But it's just like clockwork. So I just can't help it. I'm sitting there thinking, okay,
are they going to come tonight?
No, we know they're going to come. They don't necessarily fly right over our property every night. Sometimes they're, a block or two away up north or south of us. But I sit there thinking, okay, so the geese are all out in the field. There's got to be one chief goose that says,
timekeeper.
Okay, boys, we're going to fly.
Yeah.
We're going to fly now.
Timekeeper.
And I don't know why we have to fly, but it just something inside me says, we got to fly.
Yeah, it's time to go.
So the whole group just, and honk, and they just, okay, let's go. And they don't all come at once sometimes. Sometimes they're in groups, whatever. But it's a fascinating thing. I'm going to have to sit and talk to Dan Bruce about that because he's a bird guy. He's an ornithologist. And I see what his thoughts are on the geese, on, if they actually talk to each other. I mean, he was talking about trees talking to us.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe the geese do too.
Well, they're making noises, that's for sure. But yeah, it is fascinating for sure. I know that they are very adaptable. I mean, some just go to the coast. Some go down into the U.S., some stay right here and just hang out by the lake.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and they survived last year's 31 below.
Oh, yeah, they just nestle down. They are Canada geese, after all.
Of course.
They're used to the cold.
Yeah.
I think they'd rather be Florida geese.
Florida geese, yeah.
Yeah, in golfing down in Florida, there's a lot of Canada geese on the golf courses down there in the wintertime.
I don't think they like that.
Lots of them.
Because it's not just the geese that get in the way. It's what they leave behind them. And,
Yep.
you know,
There's
poundage of droppings. We're just. I was just talking about my first taste of pumpkin pie this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my favorites is pumpkin pie,
Mm-hmm.
and with little whipping cream or ice cream. You know, I mean, and that's what we do at this time of year. So
Yep.
we're going to have it. We didn't have a Thanksgiving dinner last week, so we're going to have one tonight.
Oh, there you go.
Having some turkey.
Better late than never. Did you get your garlic in?
No, that's what I am doing today.
Yeah.
I didn't get it in last weekend, but you know, Ken, I've delayed it a few weeks sometimes, and they're still fine.
Oh,
it's still fine.
It's usually that, you know, middle of October is fine. There's some people say, you got to do it at the end of October. And it's like, you know what? It really doesn't make that much difference if you do it beginning of October, end of October. It's ideal if it's in October. That's sort of perfect.
I had to dig up some carrots. I had to get some stuff out of the way, and I had 3 tobacco plants there just to see what they would do.
Yep.
I mean, I'm growing tobacco not to smoke. The last thing I'd ever do is smoke tobacco. However, they are a beautiful plant.
Yeah.
Huge leaves on them and nice flowers at the top. However, I prevent them from going to seed because I think they'll send up little tobacco plants all over the place.
Yeah.
They'd be quite prolific that way. But I'm going to use them next year in various spots, just as a big show-off plant.
Big leafy
it's
plant.
It's like the ricinus, the same idea. Big ricinus plant looks nice.
Yeah.
Big tobacco
Castor
plant.
bean, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it. Large leaf plants are great. They just make all the other plants look so nice. It's really one of these things where you're working with texture in the garden, and if you have really fine foliage and small leaves, put something coarse beside it, and they both look better. Yeah. It's kind of nice to work with textures.
And I love bold, fast-growing plants too, and that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
The sunflowers, the ricinus is another one. Some of the cannas.
Yep.
The banana that I save every year. I've got that red leaf banana out in my planter out front, and every time I walk by it,
you're thinking,
it's
are you going to leave it?
It's screaming. It's screaming. Please take me in. Please take me in. I like your laundry room. That's where I stayed last year.
Some plants don't make it back in, unfortunately. I've got the 3 brugmansias. I got the 3. They're about 6 feet high, and they're still sitting outside there, and they really can't come back in.
No. Okay.
So I guess, if somebody wants a few, these are not small plants. Like, they are huge, and they've just been covered in bloom in the all of September and October, just huge amounts of flowers. Yeah. And super fragrant and everything. Yellow blooms.
I'm tempted to get a cutting, Ken.
Well, cuttings are easy, yeah.
Yeah. They grow. Cuttings are easy.
Yeah. You can get a decent sized one.
Yeah. I'm trying to root some jacaranda. I just haven't had luck in rooting jacaranda.
No, they're difficult. Sometimes the rate of growth on these things is a factor affecting how their vigor. And plants that have more vigor are generally quicker and easier to grow. Like brugmansias are like that. They're pretty fast if they get the right conditions. I'm sure at your house it would grow much better because your water conditions are so much better than mine. Mine being well water, and well water is a challenge to grow. It's about anything except for the most alkaline tolerant plants.
Asparagus is one.
Asparagus and celery.
And celery, that's right.
Really good success with celery there.
But Ken, is it a private well, or is it a municipal well?
It's a community well. It's privately owned, but for the whole community.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and it's not good. It doesn't have the iron in it that you would think. It's just super hard. I grew up with well water. When you fill up if you fill up a 45-gallon drum with water, and then you take the water off the top with watering jugs, by the time you get maybe 2 of those things used and refilled, they're starting to form a layer of lime on the bottom of it. And you can just see it turns white on the bottom. And it's just pure, powdered lime. And that's what we deal with here in the Okanagan. Is our soils are extremely limey. They're limestone based, so quite the opposite of coastal regions. We just don't get the precipitation to dissolve the limestone like they do in other areas, and so it builds up, and down in that well, the wells are very alkaline and not very good for plants.
Yeah.
Probably okay for people, but not
I don't think our well water down on Ethel Street, because we had well water right up to about 1988 or 9, remember, when we had to change for various reasons. That well water grew some pretty good plants.
Yep.
So it wasn't the same.
Yeah,
well
you
water.
had that. Well, I guess it's all lake water ultimately. But depending on how much access you have to it, like lake water is fabulous. For the same reason that I'm just saying how my 45-gallon drum forms a layer of lime on the bottom of it just because it settles out. Well, so does it in the lake. And so with lakes, you have this, it's called buffering effect, is where all these particles, minerals and things settle out and they sit down on the bottom like silt in that silty, dusty soil that's on the bottom of the lake. And that's where they sit. So the water becomes quite neutral. And neutral is ideal for watering plants. So you just can't beat surface water like that, like lake water. It's just the best choice. Easiest to manipulate, easiest to deal with as far as, fertilizers and nutrient availability. But when you pull it out of a well, you're kind of subject to whatever that water source is. If it's high in who knows what, but it's going to be really high in minerals. We know that for sure. And the minerals affect the way everything works.
For sure. If you put litmus paper into your water, would it show alkaline?
7.9 is the pH.
That's getting up there.
Yeah, and it varies slightly from season to season. It can be as low as 7.8, or no, 7.68 is sort of about as acidic as it gets, but it goes up depending on the season. And I think what happens is, especially late in summer, there's less water, I guess, entering the aquifer, that it becomes slightly more concentrated, so it becomes slightly more alkaline.
And it goes up it doesn't just go up
it's
in
logarithmical.
Yeah.
So and that's probably too complicated. That's for another a science show.
A science show.
How the alkalinity changes as the pH increases, and the higher it goes, the more extreme each point becomes.
Yeah, I know. Okay, we're at the 15-minute mark here. We're going to take another short break. We do invite your calls 250-862-2525 here in Kelowna area. 1-888-780-4273 if you're calling from out of the Kelowna area. And we will be back with the Garden Show after this short break. Well, we're back with you again on a rainy Saturday morning, but we've got Carolyn phoning in from Victoria. Carolyn, have you got your galoshes on today?
Pretty much. It hasn't stopped. I got all the leaves out of the gutters.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Anyway, why I'm calling is I have 4 little trees of various heights that were all Christmas trees in pots. And I feel so bad for them every year. I never get to them, and they carry on, and I throw some fertilizer on them, and they carry on. But the worst one is, the worst off is a blue spruce in quite a small pot, and it's not giving up. It's about 4 or 5 feet high. And I think it's too late to do anything about them this year, but I'm just kind of going, if I can get them over the winter and get them to the spring. I remember you guys saying when you repot them or plant them, see, nobody wants them.
No.
And I'm going, everybody's like, and I've got Christmas trees on my property that are 40, 50 high. I don't have any more capacity to plant them either. So I'm going, these poor little guys. And maybe I'll just put them up on Marketplace for free or something. But
Well, I'll tell you, there might be somebody with a large property that needs to reforest or get some trees in there. And maybe your controller at the station there in Victoria could take your number down. And, and then if somebody's interested in those trees, various trees. So you got a blue spruce. What else do you have there?
I've got a fir. And I tried to find it on the internet. I don't even know what it is. It's a lovely little fine, round. I don't know. Branches are round. It looks more delicate. I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
It's a coniferous, though.
Could be a cryptomeria or something.
Yeah, it could be cryptomeria.
That's just the way, unfortunately, it goes. But the one thing you'll want to do in the springtime is make sure that whether you do it now, like you could, if somebody wanted to plant it now, you could do it. And if you want to plant it in the spring, you could still do it. But what you need to do before they start to grow is you need to pull the root system apart.
That's what that was my second question, because I remember you saying that because some big tall tree went down because it never got pulled apart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And it's really hard on the plants. But the only time you can really tear those roots apart is when they're dormant. So during the dormant season, like starting now right through till possibly into early March, in that zone, if somebody wants to plant them, whenever it is, could be any time in there, as long as you can dig, you could plant them. But you would need to pull the root system apart, make sure there's no girdling roots that go all the way around the top of that pot, especially. But anywhere going around the pot's not going to be good.
I saw one post on the internet where they were actually cutting it across the bottom and 4 cuts down the side, and that just looked pretty harsh.
Yeah.
Well, in the dormant season, that's not too bad. I mean, it's
got to do something.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And if I wanted to repot them right now, just because I can put them as Christmas trees on my outside, how, I guess the bigger the pot, the better?
Well, for stability, yes. But the bigger the pot, the more handling difficulties it creates. But
that's right. Yeah.
But it's it's something you can get a happy medium.
Okay.
All
right.
Okay.
You basically confirmed what I thought.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, dear. We appreciate your call, Carolyn.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
And we have Mike joining us from Victoria. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. You guys are getting the rain just like we are in Victoria.
Well, I don't think just like you are, Mike. We don't have the atmospheric river, but we've got some pretty darn solid rain here.
Yeah,
I wouldn't call it a river
sprinkling.
Yet.
Well, ours is pretty intense right now.
I'm hearing that, yeah.
We need it. I got a kind of an oddball question for you. We live just outside of Victoria, and I've got a vineyard, commercial vineyard that we grow. And one of our problems, of course, is powdery mildew, and I use a product called Cumulus, which is a wettable sulfur, to control the mildew through the year. One of my friends said, can I have some of your Cumulus for my roses and whatnot? And I said, sure, Ken, no problem. And then I thought afterwards, can I take that and use it, or can he take it and use it without burning his plants? Any idea on that one?
Yeah.
Well, if it doesn't burn the grapes, it shouldn't burn the roses.
Well, that was my theory, too, but I thought,
then he's just got to try it on one rose because it's not going to kill the rose. It might burn the leaves, but you want to try it on one and see what happens, and then go from there.
Yeah,
well,
I wouldn't expect it to be a problem, but the only thing that legality aspect is that the rule is on all pesticides you read the label, and if it's not on the label, you're not supposed to use it. So that's from the legal aspect, but from Cumulus is pretty safe product to use, and I've never really heard it really. Burning anything, shouldn't seem to be too bad.
Mike, what kind of grapes are you growing?
We've got Pinot Noir, Pinot Gris, and a white hybrid called Epicure.
Wow, good for you. Now, and of course, you didn't have the freeze out that we had in the Okanagan here.
No, we didn't. Thank God for that.
Yeah.
We had it cold, but these things are pretty good down to minus 20 or so.
Oh, sure they are. Yeah. So when we get this minus 31 that we had, that really nailed a bunch of grapes.
Plus the warming ahead of time, I think
that's right.
Really did it. And then all of a sudden, the temperature just dropped off a cliff. And
something else.
Yeah. So, but no, we actually just finished harvesting, and I think I had our best harvest ever in terms of weight. So
right on. So now, do you service the wineries there, or?
Yeah, we sell half of them. The Pinot Noirs and Pinot Gris go to a winery. It's actually not far from we are, and the white one goes up to Cowichan, to Unsworth.
Well, good for you. That's good work, and there's nothing like farming.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we started out not knowing anything. Thinking, this could be fun. It won't be much work. Wrong.
Wrong. Yeah. Well, I got a friend that put his kids through college with his blueberry farm, so there you go.
Yeah, no, it is fun, particularly when everything goes reasonably well. So
yeah, Mike, we appreciate your call and thanks for contributing today.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay,
just a quick aside, we do have the American berry that they're
beauty berry.
Call him. Yeah, and so it's around here.
County
Anyway,
carpet.
thanks again.
You bet. Take care, Mike. Okay.
Thanks for calling.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, they're a nice little shrub, those guys.
Yeah. And Carolyn's phoning in from Kelowna. Good morning, Carolyn.
Hey, good morning. I talked to you about, a month ago about replacing a pink that I had in my garden.
Mm-hmm.
And you had suggested something bred by Lady Aberdeen, I believe. It's a small one.
Oh, yeah, it's a miniature, you can call it a pink or a carnation or a
Exactly.
clove
I
pink.
dug the great big ones out of my garden because they were taking over and I just didn't have the room for them.
Right.
But I'm trying to find out where to get one of these. It might be time to start shopping already for next spring. So.
Yeah. Well, you can go to some of the garden centers and you can ask them if they can check to see if it's available, because what they do is they call a wholesaler and they put their orders in for spring, and they'd be doing that many time between now and January. And so then if you said, I request this plant, it's a really good plant, and then so they phone around, they go like, who grows it, and then they find somebody who's growing it, and then they just order some in because they're a beautiful plant. And
so it's a specialty one. It was grown specifically for the Goochigan Gardens. And it was in England that they did that, and they sent the plants over. And Ken propagated them when he had his greenhouse business, and I know there are other people that do propagate that particular. It's called Lady Aberdeen Dianthus.
Oh, Dianthus.
Dianthus, Lady Aberdeen Dianthus. Yeah,
that was the word I didn't have. So, like a local. Grower might have it? Or you're saying it might be propagated locally? Or?
What I would say is you talk to a local garden center, because
Are we talking like the one out?
Naps, Bylands, the greenery. I think the greenery would be a good one. You'd have to check early spring for that. Yeah. The greenery, check early spring.
They're not open now, I don't
They're not open, but they do open in March.
You can send them an email.
Yeah, you can email them. Yeah.
That's an option too.
You can do that.
See if they ever do get it, because sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. But you need to start thinking about it. That's a good idea, and it's probably not local. But like I say, that's a garden center. They buy from Vancouver, from Victoria. They'll buy from anywhere local. They'll buy from the U.S. They have all their tentacles out there to buy plants, and so they can just send a blanket thing out to all their suppliers and see if they can find it.
Hopefully they'll do it for one plant.
Carolyn?
Well, that's the thing is you might have to say, well, maybe I'll take 3.
Carolyn, and I know you eventually are going to be successful on this, and I'm going to do a little bit of homework too, because I think Dan Bruce might have an angle on where that might be available too. So I'll talk to Dan.
Yeah. So I'll hear back from you via the radio?
Yeah, we can do that, or you can. I'm in the book. You can always call me. I'm still in the phone book, and you can.
I think I emailed you one time.
You can email me.
Contact you.
And just remind me about that, and I'll do some homework for you. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Carolyn. Appreciate the call.
Yeah, thanks for calling.
You bet.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. And we're going to take a short break, the bottom of the hour, and we will be back with more of The Garden Show after this short break. We're back with you on a soggy Saturday morning, but it's we need the water, and I'm hoping it's just snowing like heck in the hills.
Yeah.
We're welcoming Linda to the show. Good morning, Linda.
Good morning, Dawn and Ken.
Hey,
Linda from the Garden Club.
I know.
Hey.
With regard to Lady Aberdeen, a number of members of our club have that particular dianthus.
Ooh, okay.
And one of the benefits of joining the Kelowna Garden Club is that you have access to many, many informative, passionate gardeners.
Yeah, there you go.
That's right.
Well, Carolyn, I hope you're listening to this.
Yeah. So just have her go on the website, find out when the next meeting is, kelownagardenclub.ca, and I'm sure one of our members will be happy to share.
Linda, this is a great call. Thank you so much for doing this, because I seem to recall now that there were members that had this Lady Aberdeen dianthus.
Yes, maybe if you're lucky. Well, during the plant sales, sometimes they show up at the plant sales,
right? You're absolutely right, Ken. I mean, we will have them probably in the plant sale in late April or early May. But again, ask, perhaps the lady can watch our website and for the plant sale as well.
Linda, I want to find out, too, if you can do this for me at some point. Email me or give me a call. I want to contact people for the Penticton Garden Club and the Vernon Garden Club.
Oh, okay.
Because if there's somebody I can contact, I'd like to talk about the trip to Seattle.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Great idea.
Okay.
Okay, I'll be happy to do that.
You're a giant.
Thanks.
I appreciate this call. It's very, very good. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Linda. Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, that's good information. And that's what the garden show is about. That's what we're about. We trade information. It's like I've often said, it's like just two gardeners chatting in the backyard over the back fence. Well, how you doing today? Well, my tomatoes aren't doing that well. They're not, blah, blah, blah. And that's exactly what the garden show's about.
Yeah, my tomatoes are not doing well right now at all. They're not digging this weather, and they're not liking the cold. And
no, but I've been bringing ours in, and they're ripening up so nicely. And I brought absolute green tomatoes in.
Yep.
And they're ripening up right on our...
Oh, they love room temperature. It's fabulous. You know what? One thing I brought in is celery. Yes. Because we had quite a bit of celery. I've got a little celery for you here as well, John.
Nice.
But I know I'm exchanging it for a recipe apparently.
Yes, yes, that's right.
But anyway, yeah. But I brought. I just went out because we eat a lot of celery. We love celery. And so they were so beautiful, I just thought, I'm not going to just leave them out here because one night it'll freeze and they'll be mush. So I I didn't chop them out. I dug them out and potted them into pots, into 3-gallon pots, and watered the heck out of them outside, got them good and soaked, and then brought them inside. And now they're sitting inside in our plant room, in Wendy's plant room, and by the sliding doors and nice, relatively bright location, and they're hanging in there. You're getting a few yellow leaves here and there on the sides
because of the change of environment.
Yeah, but they're staying perky. They're not. One plant, the first one I pulled out, I literally pulled it out. I grabbed it, I stood over top of it, and I just ripped it right out of the ground. And then I threw it in a pot, and I thought, well, I wasn't really super friendly doing it that way, because I damaged the roots quite a bit. So that one did wilt a bit. But the other 4 I dug out, I got a good chunk of root, and so they seem to be doing okay. So we'll see. Hopefully I can string those guys along for another few weeks and extend their life.
I'll get you that recipe for sure. Donna has all her recipes down. Peter is joining us, West Kelowna. Peter, hi, how you doing?
Hey, good morning, Don, and just a couple of questions for you. I'm sort of an amateur gardener. As I'm getting old, I'm kind of enjoying the outdoors and seeing things grow. But geraniums, I've been lucky to get them into I've got a workshop that is, cool, but it's not. It's heated a little bit, so the geraniums do fine. Can fuchsias be put in there as well? Will they last over the winter?
You betcha.
Yep.
Yeah. Cut them back a little bit, Peter.
Sure. Okay. And then canna lilies. I've got 3 beautiful ones that I was given as gifts this spring. They're in big pots out on a patio.
Yep.
Should they be planted or maybe again put into a?
Well, they're kind of planted already. So that's just the thing is depending on how big the planters are. If they're too big to move, well then you got to dig them out. And generally, what people do is they dig them out of the pot that they're in. Generally, it's got some peat moss stuck on the sides of them, and then they'll just take those, set them into like a cardboard box, and then they chop the tops off and clean them up a bit. Let them make sure they dry right out, and it's hard to do. It's raining out today, but you have to dry them out, and then get them into that maybe underneath the bench in the greenhouse or in a cool area where they're not going to freeze, but they'll be cool, through the winter months, and they'll be good to go for next year. But I have some that my pots are only about 14 inches by 14 inches square, and that's not too crazy of a size. And I have beautiful cannas in there, so I'm just going to chop them off, just move the whole pot in. And they already have soil around them. They already have peat moss around them. They're already dried out.
They're one of the easier things to store over the winter.
As long as you
very
have
flexible.
Cool temperatures, and that's one of the things that I sort of struggle with is having a cool spot to put them.
Yeah, because you got all your tropicals and that inside, and now you got to keep the place warm.
And I'm warming up for the tropicals.
Yeah, my little shop's keep it about 10 degrees or something. So
that's okay.
That's perfect. Yeah,
coolish. I mean, so one last question, not garden related, but Don, I guess I'm going to say 1965 or 6, the Shadrachs, correct?
I wasn't with the Shadracks, no, but that was a band in Kelowna. I was with Strange Movies.
Strange Movies. Okay. The Shadracks, and there was Rick Masalem.
Yep.
Just trying to remember the gang there.
Well, Rick Masalem, Craig McCaw, Bob Verge on bass, Craig McCaw on guitar, Rick Masalem was a singer, and Rick Masalem. Clive Spiller was another guitar player, and Claudette, and I now know her last name, but I've forgotten it. She was the drummer, and she's the one that stimulated me to play drums. I saw them play. I was about 14, I guess, and we went out to a dance at the arena, and the Shadracks were playing. They were backing up a band from Liverpool that was emulating the Beatles, right? They were all copying the Beatles, and so the Shadracks were the backup band. And I saw Claudette playing drums with her hair flying in the wind and just going at it. And I thought, gee, I'd like to do that too.
Awesome.
And so I ended up doing it. Yep.
Good. Well, thanks for that. A little Kelowna history.
Yep.
And
you betcha.
Gardening. I listen to you every Saturday morning.
Peter, well, we appreciate your call. Appreciate the fact you're listening. So take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Peter. Bye-bye.
Yeah, it's good. Pretty cool. As people get older too, I think gardening is not just for older folks, but some people that haven't been really involved in gardening discover the magic when they get a little older because they got more time.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden they see something grow. It's like you seeing that corn grow back in high school.
Well, that was in grade 2.
Oh, grade 2, was it? Oh my God, that was early.
Yeah, I remember like it was yesterday, and the teacher came in and got us all growing stuff. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, and had pieces of glass or something like glass or plexiglass or something, and you'd put corn seeds between the layers, and then you'd drizzle water on them and watch them, and you could see the root come out, and then the shoot grow up, and you're growing them between 2 sheets of plexiglass.
Really cool.
It was really neat, yeah. And I mean, I always had a history even prior to that of being out in the wilderness and around nature, and my parents were gardeners, and I was always close to it, close to nature, close to growing plants, that sort of thing.
Before we take the break, we've got Jack joining us. Good morning, Jack.
Hi, it's me again. Look, that chap about two callers ago was talking about canna lilies. I've done that for 20 years. All you do is you carefully dig them up, and you take all the dirt away as much as you can. Even I spray them even sometimes, and dry them out, and then put them in a bin or a box. I use bins, and put some peat moss on them, and tuck them away. Make sure they're not in a very cold garage like I had 2-3 years ago.
I remember that.
Yeah.
So that's the thing to do there. But I've done all my cannas now. With the callas, I mentioned a week or two ago that I have some to give away. They're in beautiful shape. I've dug them up, got all the soil off them. They're easy to get off. And if I'd give them away, I don't have to throw them out, but I will give them away.
Well, that 2484 Rhonda Crescent reciprocal place would take them. That's my house.
You want to take them?
Take a bunch, yeah. I love them.
Then that's what I'll do.
And I'll tell you what, Jack. It's not that. I mean, I grew a nice batch through, but I also gave some to our kids, and they just enjoyed the heck out of them. So,
I have a couple of dozen now. I've left the tops; they're pretty kind of brittle, so you got to be careful when you dig those out. But should I leave the tops on for a little while? Is it like a bulb? Is it like a daffodil with the goodness of the?
They're stopped. They've stopped feeding the base now. I think.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Well, I can bring them for you, and if you want to give them away, great.
You're a giant. Appreciate it, man.
Good shape. They're yellow and they're white.
I know. They're
fabulous.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
All right. I'll be in touch.
Thank you, Jack.
Yeah,
take care.
Great. Yeah,
bye-bye.
Thanks, Jack.
Now, we've got to take a break here. We've got Ted calling in from Victoria, Addie from Kelowna, and we're going to get to you as soon as we get through these commercials because we do have to take the break, and we'll be back with The Garden Show after this short break. We just got a text from a gentleman, from a friend actually, in Glenmore that still has a couple of hummingbirds at the feeder there. And I don't know that much about hummingbirds. Dan Bruce does. We could ask him that next week if that's unusual or if they should be flying away by now. Hard to say. But we're going to go right back to the phone lines here because we do have, calling in, Ted from Victoria. Hi, Ted.
Good morning, fellas. I have a question about tomatoes. I have a sunroom, and I planted, it's a beefsteak, and it's indeterminate, right? And I have not been a good gardener. I haven't pruned it at all. But it's still producing flowers. How big will it get? Will it just go on and on and on forever, or?
Well, it's more about temperature with those guys. So if you can keep the temperature warm and air circulating and bright light, they can just keep going and going. We used to grow them like in hothouse greenhouses, and they would grow right up to about 12 feet high and start growing across the rafters.
Did you have lights in those days?
No, we didn't have lights, but that's why we had to end it all once we got around the end of September. Yeah. It just wasn't enough light.
Not enough light. The day length is...
Yeah, so if you can get an artificial light, you could keep them going for quite a while, but this temperature's warm at night, 14, 16 degrees at night is nice. Daytime's nice to be up above 72 degrees Fahrenheit, somewhere in that range. Would that be sort of 25 or so, 24 in the daytime would be nice.
Ted, we're going to have to move on. We're running out of time here, but we appreciate your call.
Perfect.
Thank you, sir.
Gentlemen.
Yep.
Take
Thanks
care.
for calling.
Okay. And Addie, we've got you on the line. Good morning, Addie. How you doing?
Good morning, guys. It's a cookie baking kind of day.
Oh, right on.
It is.
My grandson phoned me and said, now it's a cookie baking kind of day. Anyway, transplanting an orchid. I've got a couple of orchids I need transplanted. Is this too late to be doing them?
Orchids could be done now. Generally speaking, we like to see the transplanting of tropicals and things done in early spring. However, orchids, I think, could be done at any time. What are you transplanting? What type of orchid is it?
Oh, I have no idea.
Cymbidium, probably Cymbidium.
It's just the typical ones that I was gifted both of them.
Oh, Phalaenopsis, big common one.
Yeah, probably that's what they are. They bloom beautifully, and the one orchid bloomed from last year, from January the 9th up until the end of July.
Wow.
Yeah,
well, now you have to make the decision, do they actually need repotting? Because sometimes they look like they got all these roots coming out the top and everything. They look like they're just really struggling. But that's exactly what orchids, Phalaenopsis, do. They live on trees with no soil, and they just hang in crotches of trees and whatnot. So repotting them may not be an answer. However, if you've got some nice healthy roots showing there, then you can go in, you can take it out, and cut off all the rotted roots, because you'll have some old rotted ones there too. Clean it up like that, and then just put it back into some orchid bark, and you should be fine. You don't have to put them into a bigger pot.
Maybe I can bring them over in the spring, Dawn, and you can show me.
You bring them over. I'd be happy to have a visit with you, and we can do our thing.
Dozen pearlies and an orchid.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Addie,
Christmas cactus. Mine is blooming profusely.
Nice.
And it's like it blooms all summer. So I put it out in May, and I bring it in at the end of September.
Perfect.
Well,
that's the way to do it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Oh, good. Okay. So
okay.
Great. Well, have a great weekend, guys.
You too. You betcha. Get
Thanks,
out and vote.
Addie.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye-bye. And we've got Lynn from Victoria who's got a garden sale on today.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm calling about a rhododendron sale today in Victoria.
Nice.
That's exciting.
At 5008 Old West Saanich Road. And this fellow is the former president of the Victoria Rhododendron Society, and he propagates all varieties of rhodos, unusual things that you will never find in a garden center.
You're making me drool. I need my drool cup here.
That sounds great.
If you come to Victoria, you need to look him up.
Yeah, look at.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you
we pulled over 300 plants from the nursery on Friday, and I bet we've sold 100 already, and we're out pulling more. So if anybody wants to come by, we do have golf umbrellas.
Perfect.
It's not pouring quite like it was last night.
Yeah.
So come on by and have a look.
Lynn, would you mind emailing me at some point and just give me the information on that nursery? And because sure. I'd love to have that, because I will be frequenting Victoria at some point, and I'd just love to see some of those rare rhododendrons.
You should be here in the spring. It is out of this world.
I'll bet, yeah. Well, you're making me drool, because our rhododendron success here in the Okanagan is not the best. I've seen some pretty nice plants, but for the most part, they struggle with the alkalinity and various other things, cold winter and whatnot. But no, I get quite envious when I come down and see the rhodies blooming at the coast.
You'd be amazed. Like I'm in the propagation room right now. And he's got over 1,000 in the propagators right now.
Well, I'd like to see that end of things too, because propagating rhododendrons would be very similar to trying to propagate my Edith Bogue magnolia, that kind of woody thing.
Exactly.
And they using the same methodology would be good. I'd like to see what he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'll send that on to you.
Appreciate it, Lynn. Take care.
Yeah, awesome.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
There you go.
Yeah, so we got another contact there, Ken.
Yep,
we love contacts.
Another one, you betcha.
We love
awesome.
contacts.
Got to get down there and see that little nursery. And those smaller nurseries are guys like that who are just an absolute gem out there who has the knowledge and the the collection to be in with, right? Wow.
And
sounds exciting.
We talked the Comox Valley nursery, the succulent place I went to in Comox. That is a gem. A person needs to really have a look at that. If you're into succulents at all, he's got a beautiful selection of succulents there. But just to remind folks that we do have the trip to Seattle is coming up this February, and we invite you to come with us. And single occupancy is, or double occupancy if two of you are traveling there. It's $7.99 each, which is really a reasonable price considering you've got 3 nights in the hotel. You got breakfast every morning. You've got lunch at Brian Minter's on the way home. Lots of door prizes that I make up to hand out in the bus, and we just have a lot of fun. And it's a fabulous show. It's touted as the number 1 show now in North America. It's a huge show. Wonderful thing to see, and we invite you to come with us on that. That's about it for today. We're going to just about get to the tips and plants of the week. I notice there's somebody on the phone, but maybe that's okay. Maybe we're not having to answer that call. What else have I got here? Just crazy stuff that we do at this time of year, like going out in the garden and gathering up some of the dead material that might be carrying disease over the winter, but you have to discern what is good bad dead material and what's good mulch. So you want to, because it's not all bad. It's just that if you've had real bad mildew on your roses or whatever, you may want to clean that foliage up when it drops and tidy it up. Yeah, so there you have it.
All right, well, it's just about time for the tips and plants.
And a reminder to get out and vote today. Even though it's raining, get out and vote. Make your voice heard, and that's a good thing. So I think we're going to start the tips and the plants of the week. Well, my tip of the week is it's time to document all your successes and your failures with this gardening season. I'm doing it more and more now because I find in the spring it's so much fun to look back on my notes that I made in the fall rather than looking back in my crazy old mind to remember what was going on. And it's a lot of fun. My plant of the week is the living rock, the lithops, which is a beautiful plant. It's easy to look after. In fact, you got to keep the water off it. Don't water your lithops. Maybe I bet you I water them 2-3 times a year.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing. Well, I also have a tip and a plant this week. My tip of the week is to be cautious when it comes to cutting back your perennials. Remember that there's 2 types. There's herbaceous perennials and then there's evergreen perennials. And the evergreen perennials often have flower buds associated with their little foliage. And so you usually let those guys go until after they bloom next year. Some of these plants would be things like Aurinia and Abretia, Erebus, Iberis, and Hellebores. Hellebore is a little different. You cut the leaves off in the spring, but you have to maintain the stems so they keep blooming. All right, my plant of the week this week was the Christmas cactus. I'm sure we'll be talking a lot more about those in the next weeks ahead. And they're just a cool, easy-to-grow houseplant that blooms indoors, and I love them. Mine is full of buds. I'll be developing a little video on that coming up soon. All right, that's my tips and plants for this week. Remember to check growercoach.com and Grower Coach on YouTube.
You bet you can. And we do appreciate the listeners to the show and also the callers. We've been on this show on Saturday mornings since 1983. May 24th, approximately, will mark our 2000th show on the air. We're going to have a big party, I think. Yep. I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen, but we're going to have some fun with that.
We'll have some cake or something.
You betcha. And my Shigo moment this week, the quote of the week, and Ken and I had the honor to listen to Dr. Shigo speak. He's the father of modern arboriculture, and he's just an amazing guy. Anyway, his book, Tree Pithy Points, is full of these little quotes, and today's quote is, "I found a skeleton in a tree cavity. He was the 1970 hide-and-seek champion." There you go. We're going to say goodbye, and we are seeing you next week with more of The Garden Show.